JB Cycles here with the weekend update on March the 22nd. So I'm very happy to see the big interest in last week's video, and I'm going to follow that up with this one, where I have no clue. Oh gosh, am I not going to be at any help this time? Well, I see a very big uncertainty about this next coming week, and I hate when that happens. Normally I always have a clear opinion or forecast, but as you see, my 4-week cycle in green here, or my 2-week oscillation, is approaching a low. Now if we were to start rallying here, we could call this recent sideways action a cycle low or an oscillation low. But I would rather prefer to see us drop down a little bit to see a real low. But either is possible. So far we are following my red scenario here. But question is, do we get this this C move down? Do we get a double bottom or a lower low? Normally I present you my evidence or my indicators. Normally I make the conclusion, but let's try together this time, perhaps. First, we may zoom out a little bit, and we have the bigger cycle, and looks like my program is auto-saving right now. That's unfortunate, but yeah, there we are. Okay, so we have the 3.5-year cycle in red, and we are kind of following my rough dotted scenario up here. We are in the yellow topping part of the cycle. We could turn down at any time, and I think the bull market already has topped out. But we need some more confirmations. This is still a bull market. We still could squeeze all the way up and make an all-time high this spring or summer. But let's have a look at some other stuff. I have my wavelets here for the S&P daily data, and my primitive tool in the bull market is to place this rectangle at the purple wavelet top and then look for a low around the right end of the rectangle. That is where we are now. So in the bull market, this is where I should go long and expect a couple of weeks with uptrend. However, I suspect that bear market rules may apply now, and then we have this bigger rectangle, and that one suggests we should expect another week of downside and then look for a low. Also, I have this scenario for this correction based on historical analogs, and I have made this band here. Mostly we have stayed within this band, and I must have counted wrong here when I said this was around Monday the 24th, because that's here. Well, so anyway, this scenario here is looking for, say, another week of downside, but there's no guarantee we get that. But I have to stick with that. That's my main scenario. I am assuming bearish market behavior, and so far this correction has behaved very bearish, and there's you could hope for a V formation, crashing down and then rallying straight back up again. But we have made such a deep correction here that it is obvious that when we get signs of a shoulder here, everyone would expect a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. And this really doesn't look like a rally yet. It looks more like a bounce, but we'll come back to that. Let's see, I have some cycles. I have this shorter 17-week cycle, and I think where we are now, an analog is around here, the previous bull market high, but it's not exactly the same condition here, because back then we topped out after the cycle had topped, but this time we topped out before the cycle had topped. So it's a kind of it's a different situation. Anyway, my interpretation of the market is that it oscillates in or with 10-week oscillations. That's not necessarily a cycle, it's more like an oscillation, and the oscillation has to adjust to the underlying cycles. Right now, I think we are very close to such an oscillation low. I am still hoping for a double low, a drop down this coming week, but then we should start a new 10-week oscillation, and my expectation is then for a major lower shoulder around, well, sometime late April. And then the panic starts, because then on the next leg down in May, June, then we get a confirmation of this is now a bear market. But that's just a speculation. You know, we could have a V bottom here and squeeze all the way up to all-time high here. It is possible. It's still a bull market. Let's switch over to hourly data for the Dow Jones Industrial, and I am quite, well, I must say I'm very disappointed about the 2-week oscillation for several months now. Normally it is very reliable, but at the moment it's not. But you know, the low previous week is an obvious 2-week oscillation low, a possible one, and we have passed the midpoint of this oscillation. We should see downside for the next 3-4 days maybe, and that would conclude or end this correction. Also, we have this mystery magenta oscillation of about 3 weeks. Maybe that one is somehow dominant now. And this one, well, there we also are approaching a top, and it suggests downside for another 7-8 trading days perhaps, but only speculation. Still, we have not broken this trend line, but again, well, here I have my very primitive rally scenarios. This is what the Dow Jones should do if this is a finished correction and we now start to rally. And indeed, this blue one is very similar. We are seeing some hesitation to break out, but we should see a breakout on Monday and rally strong for 3-4 days and get the confirmation. Now it's a rally. The correction has ended. So that's one possibility. But you know, these oscillation here suggest maybe we should go down. And we were extremely oversold just, you know, a week ago. Looking back at 15 or more years of hourly data, there's just a handful of occasions where we were this oversold. And that gave me 3 main scenarios. What should happen with Dow Jones? Either we have the V bottom, we rally, but the most likely scenario was the green one. We make some kind of a double low, and then there's the tricky one where we have this extended bounce and then get, well, call it a double low. And well, I would say that all of these 3 scenarios are still in play. And let's look at some not some averages, but the actual analogs. So here's the extended bounce. Well, this looks very tempting, you know, with a strong ending on Friday. Maybe we complete this extended bounce on, say, Monday, Tuesday, and then we get the final move down to complete this correction. And this is the V bottom. Well, you know, often we have a dip around where we dipped on Friday, and now we should rally to the upside. So both of these are similar for maybe Monday or even Tuesday, but then this one crashes down and this one continues up. And then we have what is my main scenario. We should just drop down on Monday and make a low midweek, Wednesday, Thursday. So I really can't conclude on this, but just wait and see. Don't take any position. You can get trapped here. We could either squeeze up or crash down. But when this week has finished, So next weekend we will certainly know what's going on. See ya!